Look, Leader, today is the International Day of the Girl, and I'm calling for a debate with the Minister for Justice on the need to increase efforts to detect, prosecute and eliminate the barbaric practice of female genital mutilation in Ireland. FGM is a transnational public health, human rights and gender injustice issue which more than 125 million girls and women in 29 countries in Africa and the Middle East have been subjected to. This House and the Lower House acted in recognition of this in 2012 when we passed the Criminal Justice Female Genital Mutilation Act, creating a specific offence with which to prosecute those who carry out these horrific practices. And yet, while the Act has been in place for over a decade now, only one single joint conviction has been made under the Act. I'm sure we all remember the trial of January 2020 when the father and mother of a toddler was sentenced to 5.5 years and 4 years and 9 months respectively in prison. As it happens, that verdict was overturned a year later on appeal, although I understand the state indicated that it would be requesting a retrial. And so there are 0 standing convictions for this crime in the entire country in over a decade. But we would be fools to think that these instances of FGM in Ireland are 0 also. The HSE FGM Handbook, Information for Healthcare Professionals Working in Ireland, updated in 2021, states that the number of FGM cases in Ireland continues to increase. In 2016, it was estimated that nearly 6,000 women living in Ireland had undergone the practice of FGM. As the number of people in Ireland from East Africa and the Middle East increases, the risks of an increase in the prevalence of FGM in Ireland also rises. I read this morning in the Guardian newspaper that the political and religious leaders in the Gambia are threatening to introduce a bill to decriminalise female genital mutilations 8 years after the practice was outlawed. Members of the country's National Assembly have blocked a proposal for the 2015 law to be scrapped, while the Supreme Islamic Council has issued a fatwa condemning anyone who denounces the practice and calling for the government to reconsider the legislation. Another comment on I want to make on the barricade yesterday. We pride ourselves on our democracy and always being available to the public. I felt some in here feel that they're too precious to deal with those they do not agree with. I do not agree with any violence on any person in public office. These barricades send out a signal of exclusion, a little divide between the politicians and the people whom they're elected into these houses to save. The government encouraged protest at our Parliament, saying this is the place to protest. But from yesterday's blockade, it's clearly telling citizens, don't bother, you're not welcome here. It was an overkill yesterday as far as I was concerned. So just wanted to bring that point to your
Sorry, Senator, just on the point, as a member of the Commission and as the Catholic of the House, and as somebody who's asked for measures taken following the event recently and supporting your call for the right of protest, the barricades yesterday were not to preclude or to exclude, but to protect members of staff, members of the Houses, and to protect the democratic institution that is the House of Oireachtas. And as a member of the Commission, you're quite free to talk to me at any stage about it, but it wasn't to exclude anybody. And as a member of the Commission who proposed that action be taken following the events of a number of weeks ago, I will stand up for the democratic process that is the House of Oireachtas. But it wasn't to exclude anybody, just so you know. And I'd be very happy to have a conversation with you and to talk to you about that, but just I would like you to know that. Thank you.
Senator Keogan, acknowledged today that today is the International Day of the Girl, and that female genital mutilation is still an ongoing problem and challenge in the country. Despite legislation being there, we're not seeing prosecutions coming through on that. I understand that the Irish Family Planning Association has a dedicated team working on this issue. They see, I think, 2 women per week that are arriving into the country with those challenges, and obviously the issue is still prevalent here in terms of people residing here and that happening as well. So it is important that we deal with that. Just in terms of your comments around the barricades yesterday, I suppose we went from a few weeks ago where members of both houses were afraid coming to work and staff in the House were afraid coming into work, and that was a really unsavoury episode in terms of the thuggery that persisted outside the houses here, and people were blocked from entering and exiting. But perhaps yesterday maybe did go beyond what we would have expected. I think the intention behind yesterday was to get people in and out of work safe, and there was an anticipation of significant demonstration yesterday.